All right, let's dive in. We're kicking off a brand new series today called North Star and Time Sovereignty. And we're starting with something that runs deep for a lot of us, whether we know it or not, the inherited life.
So let me just start by asking you a question, and I want you to really think about it. Where does your idea of a successful life actually come from? Like, where did you get the blueprint? Was it handed down to you? Maybe it came from your parents and all the things they hoped and planned for you. Or maybe it's bigger than that. Maybe it comes from our culture, the movies we watch, the books we read, the whole story that society sells us about what a good life is supposed to be.
Or, and this is the one that really gets you, what if it comes from somewhere deeper? Maybe from some old wounds, some feeling of not being enough that you're still trying to fix by achieving your way out of it.
If you pull on any of those threads, it's easy to wake up one morning and have this sudden, chilling thought, wait a minute, I'm building a life I didn't even consciously choose. It feels like you're following a script that someone else wrote for you. Look, if any of that hits home for you, you're gonna wanna stick around. Because in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna show you the hidden framework that's running the show, the invisible architecture that's actually dictating your choices.
This is the first step in a much bigger journey we're taking here on Project Human. So if you're ready to start digging and really understand what drives you, go ahead and hit like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.
Okay, so if we want to break free from that inherited life, we need a new tool. And that tool is what we call a North Star. But I'll bet it's not what you think it is.
See, a North Star isn't a goal. It's not become a millionaire or buy a house. It's way, way deeper than that. Think of it as your single guiding principle of meaning. It's the center of gravity that pulls everything else into orbit. Your time, your values, your big life decisions. It's your compass.
And this is the key difference right here. A goal is a place you can get to. It's a destination. You can check it off the list. A North Star, well, that's a direction. It's the why that powers all of your whats. It's not about reaching the destination. It's about making sure the whole journey is pointed in the right direction.
So what happens when you don't have one? Or worse, when you realize the one you've been following was never really yours to begin with? Well, that's when you start to experience the danger of drifting.
Without that internal compass, a few things almost always happen. First, you drift. You feel lost. Every choice feels impossibly heavy because you have no real way to weigh them against each other. Then, you become reactive. You just start responding to whatever's yelling the loudest. Your email, the news, other people's emergencies. And finally, you absorb. You start borrowing other people's goals, other people's values, until their approval becomes your only map.
And that brings us to the absolute heart of this whole thing. This is the big aha moment. We're about to look under the hood and see the hidden forces that are actually shaping your life, the massive difference between your values and your axioms. Okay, check this out, because this explains so much. Most of us, we can name our values. We can say something like, it's important for me to make my parents proud. That's the value, right? It's conscious. But the axiom, that's the unconscious belief underneath it. It might be, my fundamental worth as a human being is based on getting other people's approval. The value is the car you think you're driving. The axiom is the engine that's actually making it go. Once you can actually see that axiom for what it is, you can finally start to deal with the constant conflict it creates inside you. You can actually start the process of ending that internal war.
And that war usually shows up as one of these, a sacred value conflict. These are those gut-wrenching choices. Do I take the stable job, or do I follow my passion? Do I speak a really difficult truth, or do I protect my place in my family, in my friend group? They feel impossible because it's like two of your most important values are in a tug-of-war, ripping you apart.
Now here's the magic of a real North Star. It doesn't just make the difficult choice disappear. What it does is create a hierarchy. It tells you which value, for you, is the highest value. So when stability and passion are at war, your North Star tells you which one gets the final say. It doesn't eliminate the battle, but it ends the civil war by telling you who's in charge. But even when you do all this work, you find your values, you build that hierarchy, you define your North Star, there is still one final, deeper problem that we have to face.
Let's say you do the work. You find your direction. You know your North Star. That is amazing. But then what? How do you measure your progress towards something so internal? It's not like checking your bank account or getting a new job title.
The answer is time. That's it. That's the metric. It's the one non-renewable resource we all have. The true measure of a life lived in alignment isn't money or titles or trophies, it's how you spend your time.
And this is the key takeaway for today. Your North Star isn't just some nice idea. It's a promise. It's a promise you make to yourself about how you are going to spend the finite, precious hours of your one life. What you truly value is what gets your time. Simple as that.
Which, of course, brings up an even bigger, more fundamental question. If time is how we measure meaning, then what even is time, really? We are going to dive deep into that one in our next explainer. So if you want to keep exploring this with us on Project Human, make sure you're subscribed because you are not going to want to miss it.